Welcome back, all you Fabricant and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show reviews. And today we're going to be reviewing The Last of Us, uh, episode 4. It's called Please Hold On to My Hand, coming to you from HBO, streaming on HBO Max. So, what did we think about it, and should you be watching? Before we get into this review, get down there and hit like on this video. Well, after a pretty major third episode. But Lottie, is it fair to say it was a bit of a detour, a side quest? Some called it filler, and I will dispute that. But not a main story thing. Last episode,
Yeah.
we're back to like the main story, which is Ellie and Joel. Going on a cross country trip, like what is it? National Lampoon's Vacation, but with zombies, uh, in a Chevy S10 from 2003. And look, I'm going to say this is more of a straightforward episode than the previous one was. Um, it's basically them, getting to know each other, surviving, running into some bullshit, uh, unfortunately, unintentionally, and then we get to see survivors finally. I was wondering when we were going to get around to seeing some other survivors that weren't, Bill or weren't from the Boston QZ. And that, I think that's the gist of this episode. Some shit is going down in Kansas City, and it's not good, not good at all. And some hints at some major, infected shenanigans that are coming in the future. And I think you know what I'm talking about, Lottie. The hint at some major crap going on in the future. But there's some
Yeah.
fascist junk going on in Kansas City, and it's not good. So I'm not. I'll get into my thoughts a little bit more, but in a second. But Lottie, in your mind, is this a step up or step down for the show?
By far the best episode
Really?
of, in my opinion, this is The Last of Us. This was the episode that I've been waiting for because and someone said this very well, that the last three episodes felt like a show that was trying to be The Last of Us. This felt like The Last of Us. Like like I was watching someone play the game. You know what I mean? And this is what I've been waiting for. And I'm like, thank you. I'm not saying the other three episodes were not good, but it feels like the first time, like, it's hard for me to explain because you never played the game, but it's just like, this is finally the first time that this was no longer just being an adaptation. They were trying to be The Last of Us, not
Mhm.
adapt it. They were trying their, this is the episode where we're going to show this is The Last of Us. And there was
Uh-huh.
a lot of setup that had to go into it. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this episode. Absolutely enjoyed it from start to finish. I almost have no gripes of it. There were some parts where I was like, I don't like where it's going. Then they resolved it. I was like, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Completely solved it. Love this episode. 10 out of 10.
All right. I don't think I liked it as much as you did. I'm gonna be honest. It's because I think narratively speaking, it was a pretty, the story was pretty run of the mill as far as zombie survival goes. So I'm not. It didn't do anything I didn't expect, I guess was what I'm saying. Except there are no zombies. We saw not one infected in this whole episode. And there's nothing wrong with that because we all know in zombie things, humans are really the problem, not the zombies. Um, so I did like that we eventually got around to that, and it did feel very much like, hey, this could be an encounter in a video game in some places. But the bits I liked the most about this episode were the relationship building between Ellie and Joel, because
Yeah,
Joel's
that's the
yeah
main part that I'm talking about. Because they finally started talking to each other,
yeah
and that is what I meant by this is The Last of Us.
yeah.
It wasn't the action; it was their
I mean,
encounter.
yeah,
That's what I
the
was like.
action
Thank you.
bits, I felt like okay, yeah, this they're doing what I expect, but the parts that made the most sense to me, that really kind of made me feel like yes, this is the show I want to be watching, was Joel being like, "You're cargo, you're not family," but I'm doing this because Tess was family. And then despite himself, like there's a the part where she starts doing the stupid jokes, that just like the dumb jokes, right?
Hmm.
And that's the start of that's like it's like water against a brick, a dam. Slowly but surely it infiltrates, and by the time we get to the point where she asks um about the scarecrow, he laughs despite himself, and he's like, damn it, I don't want to laugh, but it's just and you just see he can't help but like Ellie. Um and and so as the show moves on, and then there's the she ends up using that gun to kind of save his life, and he feels bad about it. He feels bad about not protecting her. He feels bad about losing her innocence. Feels bad that he can't, that he's not doing enough or something like that. And she's not just cargo, she's a person, and he can't avoid that, even though he's tried very hard to close that stuff off. And so by the time they end up hunkering down for the last time in that building, that he can actually tell the Joker or whatever. And it's I just feel like as these things happen, that's where the story is. The zombie stuff is kind of like it's kind of something that's happening, and it's a backdrop. But what really the important thing to me is that this guy who wants to close himself off to the world can't help but become attached to Ellie, and I love them for that. I think Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey are great together. I love them as a kind of a duo on screen, and I love the fact that you know in the hot spot they're dependable. Each other them can depend on each other, and Joel doesn't know that, but he's learning, and she's learning that he's the real deal too, and that they are not going to make it unless they can form a bond. And I mean, I could keep going. I love that aspect. The other stuff like the rebellion against Fedra turning it out to be just as bad as Fedra themselves, and they're you know being terrible, and also that hey, maybe there's a fucking bloater somewhere. you know there's all that stuff is interesting, and I want to see more of it, but I think they just kind of skirted the edge of that in this episode, because we don't know. There's politics going on we're not aware of that we're about to find out in episode
So,
5.
so here's the thing that I will say this: they definitely um it. So this is what happened in The Last of Us. They did in the video game. The difference between the video game and this game, they combined the two forces into one. Because in the original game there was the military and they had a QZ, and then they had a QZ and two people basically fought against it, and they won against it. But then one of them became violent while the other one didn't become violent. And Joel and Ellie gets to the place when the violent ones won. Like they really toned down. Like I kind of was seeing that they sort of showed what these people are capable, but they're not as bad as they are. Like the game, those dudes are mm, like real bad.
Yeah.
Like, but they kind of instead they were like, okay, we'll just combine the two people together, and it's really, I'm interested to see why she's hunting Henry, which the video game version of why they were hunting Henry was, of course, like I said, they're just terrible people. It's easy to know. They just
Hmm.
want to kill people.
Right.
But in this one, you're wondering why, because I'm sure what they were telling us that it's not as set in stone as everybody wants it to be, because she's clearly willing to risk lives just to find this dude, because like you said, they found a place where a bloater is developing, and she's just like, let's put a bandage over and just find this dude. This dude can literally destroy your whole entire thing. Now we gotta find this dude. Don't worry about it. She's clearly the story that she's trying to say about Henry is not true. Clearly,
Yeah.
it's not, because she wants him dead at the cost of her of the entire thing. Because that's a bloater. Because yeah,
I best say don't spoil. I don't really
I'm
want
not
to
gonna
know.
spoil it.
I don't
It's
really
just
want to know how bad. I
you
only
could
know
just
about the
see.
yeah.
Yeah, you could just see it. Like, bitch, do something. But
Yeah,
no.
and
But
the guy was like, "Really? You don't? We shouldn't tell people about this?" And I was like, "Yeah, bitch, really? We shouldn't tell them about this? This is bad. Like, even I've never even seen a bloater, and I'm pretty sure that's not good. Like,
exactly.
y'all sitting up there. That you could tell the difference. Like when they were looking for Henry and that little loft thing, dude had his gun back. He wasn't worried about it. They're just looking. When they went down to that sub basement, man had the gun out. And he was like, he was clearing in front of him to make sure he didn't have to, shoot anything. That's serious. That dude with the beard, I don't know who he is, but I can tell he don't play. And I was like, man, you care about this guy that much? Who cares? Like, whatever this thing is, not good.
Hmm.
So
And
yeah, I found all that interesting, but it's they basically they went kicking doors in, and I'm like, how are y'all not Fedra? We literally saw that crap happen in the Boston QZ where these supposedly fascist Nazi, Fedra guys are going door to door fucking people up. And then we see it over in this one where Fedra's been taken out and everything like that. They are going door to door kicking people out and stuff. I'm like, what's the difference?
but honestly, they're much worse, because here's the difference. At the end of the day, even though Fedra might be assholes, they're still serving. They're still like, you can tell the difference between the two societies. Like, they're just afraid of the military. Like, you can tell with that woman when she was walking past, like, those people are terrified of her. Like, because at least when, Joel was working in Boston, there's an honest living. Just don't do something stupid and you might get killed. Like with her, she's clearly unstable. If she just like, you can just tell she's the type of person that if she just hears a bad rumor, she'll kill you.
Right.
You know what I mean? She's
Hmm.
clearly unstable. I'd rather be under Fredra than them, because you could just tell she's not sane. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. She's. I'm
She
just trying
killed
to.
a doctor. She just
Yeah.
literally killed a doctor. It's just stupid.
I'm just trying to figure out what happened to, what did this Henry guy do? I'm I'm curious because like it seems like she attributes everything bad to Henry. What is this guy? What did he do? And why is she so hot on getting him?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure they're going to answer that in the next episode. And also, hopefully, zombies this time. It'd be cool. When they said The Last of Us, I don't think they meant like The Last of Us zombies are in episode 3. I'm just
Well, I
saying.
will say I'll say this though. I'll say this. Just so you can kind of like get an expectation. When they were first showing the video game Last of Us, we like, honestly, we the person like, remember when the game was like showing off back in 2013 and originally 12, they didn't show us the infected. It was about the the like fighting against criminal humans. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
crazy humans and stuff, like living in a post-apocalyptic world with the humans. The infected are a backdrop that you saw in the game later on as you bought the game. But people bought the game because it was fighting against humans.
Hmm.
So I'm just so you understand that it's not really the they showed that in the trailer of the show because they want you to see, oh, the infected look good, but The Last of Us are actually about human conflict. That is what the whole entire series from 1 and part 2 are all about: human conflict. Infected are like plot devices, sort of like, you know what I mean?
Well, that's ooh, okay. Well, it's a little disappointing, but also I'm here to find out what's really going on. So I remain optimistic and hopeful about this show. It's good. You know what? This episode again, not I liked episode 3 a lot more, but that's only because it was a really well told, kind of, bottled episode, just like self-contained. And this is more about moving the narrative forward, and I appreciate that. And I like where it's going. I'm ready for more. So I'm definitely I think this is a good episode to watch. Definitely not a waste of time. So and Lottie, you sound like it's your favorite one.
Yeah,
And
I love this episode.
so yeah, I'm looking forward to episode 5 then. But anyway, those are our thoughts about this episode. What do you guys think about it? What do you think about what we had to say? Get down to the comments section, leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. And do us a favor, get down there, hit like on this video, subscribe and hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Helps with the channel, helps more people to see these videos. All right, all you Fabricants and Fleshbags, thanks for joining us on this review. Come back next week for our review of episode 5 of The Last of Us. Till then, I've been Mo de Poupée, your resident fabricant and comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Lottie. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.